De Canadees-Afghaanse jongen Omar Khadr was 16 jaar, nog een kind, toen hij in de beruchte gevangenis Guantanamo Bay terechtkwam. Verdacht van het gooien van een handgranaat naar een Amerikaanse militair in Afghanistan. Nu, 8 jaar later, zit Omar Khadr er nog steeds, als enige westerse gevangene. Zijn verhaal wordt verteld in You Don't Like the Truth, die vanavond een speciale jury award won op het documentairefestival ITVA in Amsterdam. Kijkt u naar een verslag van Jan Eikelboom en Annefien van Uggelen.
Omar Khadr is a young boy who is a victim. And as a victim, he has been abused. I have never met anyone who's been so abused and so abandoned by so many who should know better as Omar Khadr.
What we're saying is, whatever he's guilty or not, he should have been treated as a child soldier. And a child soldier doesn't get the same treatment than a regular prisoner. And now he's still serving his sentence in Guantanamo.
In Guantanamo Bay zit 1 gevangene die hier als kind werd binnengebracht. De Canadees Omar Khadr was 15 jaar toen hij in 2002 in Afghanistan werd opgepakt en beschuldigd van moord op een Amerikaanse soldaat.
I went to Guantanamo Bay as a lawyer, and I came out as a very sad father. He was in his solitary cell. He hadn't spoken to anybody for months. He was handcuffed and chained to a floor. In fact, I've never seen him anything other than being chained to a floor. And I recall what he said to me. He said, "You will leave me. Everybody does." And so since that point in time, that's always reminded me that I cannot walk away from Omar Khadr.
So I guess we're the first Canadians you've seen in a while?
Canadian?
Yeah?
Finally. Yeah.
In februari 2003 wordt Omar Khadr gedurende 4 dagen door Canadese veiligheidsagenten verhoord. De beelden van dit verhoor vormden de aanleiding voor de documentaire You Don't Like the Truth.
When they put on the web like a 10-minute piece of this 7 hours, and I remember very well, Patricio saw it, and I saw it on television, part of it, and he called me and he says, "Did you see this?" And I said, "Absolutely, it's appalling. So we should do something." And right at that moment, we decided that we should do something to denounce this.
Why?
Because it was the first time, the very first time, and for the moment the unique time, that you got some material from inside Guantanamo.
Everything is Americans. That's not right. I just said that because they tortured me very bad in Barbara. So I had to say what he said.
He was made to stand up against a wall with his arms outstretched as far as he can go and then tied up. And then he was made to stand on his toes in that position and questioned. And at some point in those examined questions, interrogations, he would need to urinate. And when he urinated, because he couldn't control himself, he was then released and his head was used to mop up the urine. That is not only Omar's story, it's the story of other detainees.
He has been submitted to the frequent flyer program. The frequent flyer programs, it's a way that it's a method, it's a technique that doesn't allow you to sleep. You know, during weeks, you are being changed every 2 or 3 hours from your cell, so you don't sleep, you don't sleep. And this is a torture, of course it's a torture.
I have to go back and write a report on that? They're going to laugh at me because they're going to say, well, this guy's not cooperating, this guy's jerking your chain. He's wasting your time. He's intent on lying to you.
I'm not lying. If you were tortured like I was tortured, you'd probably say more than what I said. You're not in my position, that's why you're just saying this.
Well, you're saying that like a robot. This is like a rehearsed speech, you know?
At the time of the interrogation, he's 16 years old. And at one point, you know, these guys, they push him because, you know, he's been injured and he's complaining about all the injuries that he have, and they don't do anything. And they say, no, you're not injured. I can see, you're fine.
I lost my eyes. I lost my feet, everything.
No, you still have your eyes, and your feet are still at the end of your legs, you know?
And then he breaks down and he's crying. And he's crying for 16 minutes. And he's crying and he's asking for his mom. You know, Yaomi, Yaomi in Arabic, which means mom, mom. Seeing this material, it was just too much. We felt ashamed, we felt embarrassed to be Canadian. We used to be the defender of human rights around the world, you know, and at the United Nations, and now here we are. And you watch this kid, he's 15 years old, being treated the way he was. It was really awful.
Omar Khadr is nu 24 en zit nog steeds in Guantanamo. Afgelopen maand heeft hij in ruil voor strafvermindering alsnog bekend.
Omar Khadr had a choice. He had a choice of spending the rest of his life in that hellhole called Guantanamo Bay, because the prosecution were asking for life imprisonment, and in the United States, life imprisonment is life imprisonment. And they were saying that there would be, and if they couldn't get life imprisonment from the jury, he would spend no less than 40 years. And I had negotiated a deal between the United States and the Canadian government that if Omar pled guilty, he would spend he'd get no more than 8 years, and of those 8 years, only 1 year in Guantanamo Bay. So Omar Khadr chose to plead out so that he could get a life. And if he'd been asked to plead guilty to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, I would have encouraged him to consider that in order to get out.
Just want to hear whatever you want to hear.
I just want to hear whatever I want to hear. No, I don't. I want to hear the truth.
That's why I told you the truth. You don't like the truth.